Today I'm demonstrating the Audi car configurator example project in Unreal Engine 5.3 with the Cavrnus Spatial connector for Unreal. I have 3 windows up. On the top right, I have the car configurator running on a remote workstation. On the bottom right, I have the configurator running on my local workstation. And on the left, I have our web console up, and I will be showing some of its features, as well as demonstrating how we can affect the car configurator from the web. Okay, with that brief explanation out of the way, let me show you what we can do. In the web console, I'm logged in as myself. I'm going to use the web console to create a new space. I'm going to name it Audi Configurator and save it. Now I'm going to invite 2 users. Now in the web console, I'm going to hop into the session analyzer. Here in the participants panel, you can see myself and the 2 accounts I've invited. Note that I'm considered connected to the space shown by this green dot as I'm using the web console. I won't have co-presence in the simulation, but I do show up as a connected user. Let's log into Cavrnus in one of the configurator windows. You can see this space has been added to the list and I can join that space. Now, if this space had existing properties in it, the Audi would change its appearance to match those settings. In this case, the space is new, so there are no changes. You'll notice that the web console now shows my connection. Let's connect the second user to the same space. You can see that user is connected as well. Let's zoom out of the space details panel and take a look at the participants panel. The participants panel shows the currently connected users, their profile pictures, name, and connection ID. Okay, now let's get back to the configurator. I'm using the configurator's interface to change the paint color and wheel appearance. You'll notice that both users see the changes made to the Audi. This is done through the Cavrnus property system. When a change is made in the simulation, the property is sent to the Cavrnus journal. These changes are recorded in the database and sent to all connected users. If we want to see a list of all changes made to the Cavrnus space, we can use the live journal. Here you can see the live journal. I'm going to zoom in a bit so we can see some of the entries. If you remember, I changed the paint color first. That's represented by this entry. I then clicked on the interface to go to the wheels, which is represented by this. This is the change in our camera positions for both users. And then this is the change to the wheel appearance. The journal is a history of all changes that have been made to the space since it was created. You can see these other entries here that represent the user's locations. You notice that on the left, they also have a T. This represents that these values are actually transient and only stored while users are connected to the session. Finally, let's take a look at the Properties panel. The Properties panel provides an easy-to-understand summary of the current values of the properties in the space and allows editing of those properties from a browser. You can see there are 2 entries here, Audi Configurator and Users. If we click the Users container, you can see there are 2 users with properties in the Cavrnus space. The string of characters is their connection ID and represents their unique connection to the space. If I pick one of them, you can see the user has a transform property representing their location in the space. In the case of the configurator, the user's location properties are read-only, so altering them here will do nothing, but you can see them change when I change my position in the scene. Let's take a look at the Audi Configurator container. We see a list of all properties that have changed in the space under the Audi Configurator container. These are the live values of the properties, and we can change them here and see the changes reflected real-time in the running simulation. If I change the values in one of the simulations, you will see its value changed here. You can see the properties for the pane as a string in the Properties panel. The Audi Configurator example uses the Variant Manager, and the variance and variant settings have been connected to Cavrnus properties. The property's name is the variant's name. The property's value is formed from the variant name and the current value of the variant. So if I want to change the paint color, I can type one of the name variants. For example, paint : Ibis white. If I add new variants to this Unreal Engine project, they would be available and synchronized as well. As I make more changes in the simulation, property values are sent to the Cavrnus space and show up here. Changes to the Audi and user menus are stored in the general and sent to all users. These values are persistent, and any user connected to the space can receive the current values of all Cavrnus properties. So when a user joins the space again at a later time, the current state of the space will be reflected in the configurator. By default in the simulation, changing the location of the camera will change the position for all users. I can disable other users affecting my position with the camera icon. Cavrnus supports user co-presence, and in this case, you can see the other user's camera in the space. As the user moves around, their position is reflected in the space for all connected users. The commercial menu is also available, and it triggers a commercial for all connected users. These changes can also be made through the Properties panel in the web. In the current simulation, the changes made by the commercial sequence are not added to the journal, and stopping the commercial or going back to the configurator retrieves the current journal settings and updates the Audi. As you can see, the Cavrnus Spatial Connector allows a single user application to be turned into a multi-user persistent experience. That's all for the demonstration of the Cavrnus Spatial Connector with Unreal Engine. For more information, see www.cavrnus.com.